So let's completely shatter a massive illusion today. Every single day we tap our screens, we send emails, and we stream our favorite shows, kind of just assuming our data is seamlessly bouncing around off invisible satellites up in orbit, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the fascinating, gritty reality of how our global communications network actually functions. It's honestly a brilliant story of incredible engineering that takes place completely out of our sight.
You know that ethereal cloud everyone is always talking about? Yeah, it doesn't really exist in the sky. The stark reality is that our data relies on a deeply physical network lying deep underwater. It's quite literally resting right there in the mud of the ocean floor. It is completely tangible. We've built this incredible global society on the back of an infrastructure that is wet, deep, and very, very physical.
And here's the absolute kicker. A staggering 99% of all global internet traffic actually runs on this hidden underwater network. Just let that sink in for a second. 99%. I mean, despite all the hype we hear about satellite internet and wireless towers, practically the entirety of human knowledge, communication, and digital commerce depends on physical cables sitting at the absolute bottom of the ocean. It's the literal backbone of our digital existence.
To put that into everyday terms, our modern lives are entirely tethered to this infrastructure. Whether you're out walking down the street playing Pokémon Go, firing off a quick meme to the family WhatsApp group, or just sitting exactly where you are right now watching this, your data is literally taking a submarine dive. Every single one of those actions relies on a signal traveling underneath the world's oceans.
Let's move into our first major section. Meet the submarine cables.
So a submarine communications cable isn't just some standard wire you tuck behind your TV. We're talking about massive, physical fiber optic cables. And they don't just magically appear down there, they are actively laid across vast stretches of water by giant, highly specialized ships. These vessels drop the cables directly onto the ocean floor to carry telecommunications signals globally. These are heavy-duty, industrial pieces of engineering specifically built to survive the crushing, harsh depths of the deep sea.
And the sheer scale here is just wild. Up close, they might look like relatively slinky subaquatic wires. But when you factor in the thousands of miles they have to travel to cross an ocean, the weight adds up incredibly fast. A single major cable system spanning the ocean floor can weigh as much as 24 blue whales. 24! That is an unbelievable amount of mass hiding completely out of sight.
And the overall scope of the network? Just as staggering. There are over 1 million miles of these undersea cables currently crisscrossing the globe. 1 million miles. To put that in perspective, that's enough to wrap around the Earth roughly 40 times over. This massive web is what powers the internet as we know it. And honestly, it's the essential infrastructure fueling today's massive AI explosion, transporting the colossal data sets required to train modern models.
Let's jump to the next section, how undersea fiber works.
Okay, let's track how a simple text message actually makes this journey. Step 1. Your data leaves your smartphone over your local cellular or Wi-Fi network, traveling over land until Step 2, it hits a highly secure coastal data center. From there, and this is where the magic really happens, Step 3, that data literally translates into light. It shoots as rapid pulses through tiny glass tubes inside these heavily armored cables across the ocean floor. Finally, Step 4, it reaches a destination data center on another continent and translates back. And all of this? It happens in a fraction of a single second.
Which brings us to our final section, threats and ownership.
Because it's a physical network, it naturally has physical problems, right? It needs constant maintenance. These vital lifelines face some serious hazards down in the deep. Sometimes it's incredibly mundane human error, like a ship carelessly dropping its anchor and accidentally snagging a billion-dollar cable. Other times it's totally out of our hands, like violent underwater earthquakes severing the lines. But then, there are the bizarre threats.
Yep, submarine cables actually get attacked and bitten by sharks from time to time. No joke. Even though these cables are heavily armored, the electromagnetic fields pulsing through the deep occasionally attract a curious, or maybe just cranky shark who decides to literally take a bite out of the internet. It really just highlights how wild and untamed the environment hosting our digital lives really is.
So who actually controls all this trillion-dollar hardware? Well, historically, it was almost entirely traditional telecommunications companies and government-backed entities. But today, we're seeing a massive shift. Tech giants, we're talking Google, Meta, Microsoft, are aggressively taking ownership of the physical internet. They're out there funding, laying, and maintaining their own private oceanic cables to make sure their massive empires of data can move seamlessly without relying on third parties.
And that leaves us with a pretty massive question to wrap up this explainer.
As our modern life relies more and more on these slinky subaquatic wires for literally everything, from banking to healthcare to just keeping in touch with loved ones, what is the future of our reliance on this highly vulnerable underwater network? And as tech giants quietly buy up the physical seafloor, who truly controls our digital future? It's a fascinating reality hiding right beneath the waves. Definitely something to chew on.